Hello there, and welcome to the Dozing Explorer. I am so glad you have found your way to this quiet space tonight. Settle in and feel the world around you begin to soften. Let go of the edges of your day and allow yourself to drift into the gentle support of this moment. There is nowhere else you need to be and nothing else you need to do. Tonight we will wander into a dreamy, hidden world that exists just beneath our feet. We will explore the silent, ancient kingdom of fungi. This is not a lesson, but a gentle drift through a world of unseen connections, patient growth, and fleeting, magical forms. We will listen for the quiet hum of the network beneath the soil and watch as mushrooms rise like fleeting, moonlit sculptures in the deep shade of the forest. We will float on the currents of wonder that this secret kingdom inspires. We will imagine the vast, shimmering webs that hold the forests together, a world more interconnected than we can possibly see. We will feel the profound peace of an organism that can live for thousands of years, patiently recycling the past into the future. It is a world of silent intelligence, of deep and ancient friendships with the trees, a world that teaches us about the beauty of the unseen, the slow, and the gentle. And if these gentle explorations and quiet journeys help you find your rest, you might consider subscribing. It allows others who are searching for a peaceful harbor to drift here too, joining our community of quiet wanderers. It is just a soft thought to hold for a moment before letting it go. For now, your only task is to rest. There is nothing you need to know and nothing to remember. Let my voice be a soft, steady rhythm in the background, a gentle current to carry your awareness. If your mind wanders, let it. If you drift into sleep, that is a wonderful thing. Let yourself soften, let yourself sink, as our journey into the dreamy world of fungi begin. There is a silent, hidden kingdom living just beneath the surface of the earth. It is a world that operates on a different time scale, in a different dimension of being than our own. We walk over it every day, unaware of the vast and intricate life that thrives in the quiet darkness of the soil. This kingdom has no capital, no armies, no noise. Its power is in its patience, its reach, and its profound world-shaping connections. It is a web of life that has been weaving itself through the earth for over 1 billion years, a foundational layer of existence that makes the vibrant green world we know possible. It is the kingdom of fungi, a realm of such immense scale and quiet importance that we are only just beginning to appreciate its true wonder. It is the quiet foundation upon which all of the visible world is built. Beneath a single one of your footsteps in a forest can lie over 300 miles of unseen fungal threads. Imagine that for a moment. In the small patch of earth just under your shoe, there is a network of life so dense and intricate that if you could unravel it and lay it end to end, it would stretch from here to a distant city. These are not roots, but something far more delicate and widespread. They are the fine, silken filaments of mycelium, the true body of the fungus. This web is constantly growing, exploring, and connecting. It is a living lace that permeates the soil, wrapping itself around individual grains of sand and tiny particles of clay, stitching the very earth together. The world beneath our feet is not a solid, inert mass, but a place of incredible density and life, a hidden metropolis of silent, branching pathways. The largest known living organism on our planet is a fungus, silently stretching for miles underground. In the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, there is an individual honey mushroom, a single organism that covers nearly 4 square miles. It is a vast, interconnected network of mycelium, its delicate threads weaving through the soil, connecting thousands of trees. Scientists estimate that it could be as old as 8,000 years, a truly ancient being that has been patiently and silently growing since the end of the last ice age. It is so large that it is almost impossible to comprehend as a single entity. It is a quiet, living landscape, a single life form that has become synonymous with the forest itself, its presence shaping the very earth it inhabits. This colossal being is a quiet testament to the immense, slow, and enduring power of the fungal kingdom. Most of a fungus is invisible, living its life as a vast, shimmering network called mycelium. The mushrooms that we see, those beautiful and ephemeral shapes that rise from the forest floor, are only a tiny, temporary part of the organism. They are like an apple on a vast underground tree. The true life, the enduring body of the fungus, is this sprawling, decentralized network of threads. The mycelium is the part that eats, the part that grows, the part that communicates and forms relationships. It is the vast majority of the fungal biomass, a hidden, shimmering web that can stretch for acres. To see a mushroom is to see a brief and beautiful thought, an impulse from a much larger, unseen intelligence that is living its life in a slow, patient world of darkness and connection. This quiet network is more closely related to you than it is to the plants it lives among. It seems strange as we so often associate fungi with the world of botany. But if we trace the great tree of life back through deep time, we find a remarkable truth. The evolutionary branch that led to fungi and the branch that led to animals split from each other long after the branch that led to plants had already gone its own way. Fungi and animals share a more recent common ancestor. We see this in their biology. Unlike plants, which make their own food from sunlight, fungi are heterotrophs, meaning they must find and absorb food from their environment, just as animals do. Their cell walls are made of chitin, the same tough material in the shells of insects. They are a different kind of life, a third kingdom that is a kind of distant, ancient cousin to our own. The mushrooms we see are not the organism itself, but merely the fleeting fruit of this vast, hidden body. A mushroom is a beautiful and temporary structure built for a single purpose: to spread the next generation. When the conditions are just right, the perfect moisture, the perfect temperature, the underground mycelial network will channel its energy and resources into producing these intricate reproductive organs. They push up through the soil, sometimes overnight, unfolding their delicate structures to the air. They are designed to lift the spores up from the ground, allowing them to catch the wind and travel to new homes. And once their purpose is fulfilled, they simply dissolve, melting back into the earth from which they came, their brief, beautiful mission complete. They are the ephemeral flowers of this deep and timeless organism. A mycelial network can be thousands of years old, patiently living in the same patch of forest soil. While the life of a mushroom may be fleeting, the life of the mycelium from which it grew can be one of incredible longevity. A network can persist for centuries or even millennia, growing slowly outwards, surviving droughts, fires, and the changing of seasons. It becomes a living memory of the forest. It holds the chemical imprint of the trees that have grown and fallen, the animals that have passed, the rains that have soaked the soil. It is a constant, enduring presence. To connect with a fungus is to connect with a form of life that experiences time in a way we can barely imagine, a slow, deep, and patient existence that measures its life not in days or years, but in ages. These fungal threads act like a great underground circulatory system for the entire forest. The mycelial network is not just a passive web, it is an active and dynamic transport system. Its hollow threads act like microscopic pipelines, moving water, nitrogen, phosphorus, and other vital nutrients from areas where they are abundant to areas where they are scarce. The network can connect dozens of different trees of many different species, creating a vast, shared economy beneath the forest floor. It is the quiet, logistical infrastructure that supports the entire ecosystem. It ensures that resources are distributed, that the whole community is nourished, and that the forest can act as a single, resilient, and interconnected being. It is the living bloodstream of the woodland. The scent of a forest after it rains is, in part, the scent of the awakened fungal network breathing. That rich, dark, earthy smell known as petrichor is a complex blend of different compounds. One of the most important contributors is a substance called geosmin, which is produced by bacteria and by the fungi in the soil. When the rain falls, it disturbs the dry earth, releasing these microscopic aromatic molecules into the air. The smell is a signal that the underground world has received the life-giving water, that the mycelial networks are awakening from their slumber, and that the processes of growth and decay are stirring once more. It is the scent of the hidden kingdom making its quiet, invisible presence known to the world above. Some fungal networks can sense and respond to their environment almost like a simple consciousness. While a fungus does not have a brain or a central nervous system, the mycelial network as a whole behaves in ways that seem remarkably intelligent. It can sense the presence of food sources and grow towards them with purpose. It can sense threats or toxins and grow away from them. It can navigate complex mazes to find the most efficient path between 2 points. It is a decentralized form of intelligence, a collective awareness distributed throughout the entire web. The network processes information from countless points of contact with the soil and responds as a coordinated whole. A beautiful example of a life form that can think without a mind, if you could see it. The forest floor would be woven with a lattice of delicate white threads. Imagine for a moment that the soil could be made transparent. The world beneath your feet would be revealed as a shimmering, three-dimensional tapestry of unimaginable complexity. The roots of the trees would be glowing channels, and woven all between them, connecting everything, would be this vast, intricate network of mycelial threads, finer than any spider's silk. It would pulse with a slow, quiet energy as nutrients and information flowed through it. You would see the entire forest not as a collection of separate trees, but as a single, great, breathing entity, its life force flowing through this hidden, luminous web. It is the secret architecture that holds the visible world in place. Fungi were among the very first complex life forms to colonize the land, long before the first plants. Over 1 billion years ago, when the continents were bare rock and the only life was in the oceans, the fungi began their great adventure. They were pioneers, learning to survive on the harsh, empty land masses. They were the first to begin the slow, patient work of breaking down rock and creating the first primitive soils. They prepared the way. When the first plants finally made their way out of the water, they found a world that had been made more hospitable by the ancient, foundational work of the fungi. They formed immediate partnerships, the plants providing sugars and the fungi providing minerals, an alliance that continues to this day. They are the true ancient elders of the terrestrial world. The mycelial network is a living record of the forest's history, remembering old roots and fallen trees. A network grows through its environment, and its very structure becomes a map of that journey. The thicker, more established pathways show where food was once plentiful, where a great tree once stood and offered its partnership. The finer exploratory threads show the paths of more recent discovery. The network holds within its form the memory of past events. It knows where an old log has rotted away, leaving a legacy of rich soil. It remembers the shape of the root systems of trees that are now long gone. It is a quiet, living archive, a sprawling memory palace made of 1 million branching threads, holding the story of the forest in its very being. These fungal threads confuse together when they meet, creating a single, unified organism. When two mycelial networks of the same species encounter each other in the soil, something remarkable can happen. If they are genetically compatible, their threads can merge, their cell walls dissolving to create a shared, interconnected cytoplasm. Two separate individuals become one. This allows the new, larger network to share resources and genetic information over a much wider area. It is a form of cooperation written at the most fundamental level. It is a quiet reminder that in this hidden kingdom, connection and unity are powerful strategies for growth and resilience. The forest floor is a place of constant, silent merging. Some fungi live their entire lives as a single, microscopic cell, floating invisibly in the air. Not all fungi form these vast, sprawling networks. The yeasts are a group of fungi that have adopted a different strategy. They live as individual self-sufficient cells, often oval or spherical in shape. They are masters of the invisible world, floating on currents of air, resting on the skins of fruits, living in the nectar of flowers. These tiny solitary wanderers are incredibly important. They are the force behind the fermentation that gives us bread and beer, their quiet metabolic work transforming sugars into bubbles of carbon dioxide. They are a reminder of the incredible diversity of the fungal kingdom, from the largest organism on Earth to some of the very smallest. The structure of a fungal network mirrors the structure of our own neurons and the structure of distant galaxies. It is a beautiful and recurring pattern in the universe, a shape that nature seems to favor for systems that need to explore, connect, and distribute. From the branching of a river delta to the crackle of a lightning bolt, we see this dendritic, tree-like pattern. A mycelial network, with its central pathways branching out into ever finer filaments, looks remarkably like a neuron with its axon and dendrites. On the largest scales, computer simulations of the cosmic web, the vast structure of galaxy clusters in the universe, show a startlingly similar form. It is a universal architecture of connection, written in the language of biology, neurology, and cosmology. This underground web holds the soil together, preventing it from washing away in the rain. The millions of miles of mycelial threads in a patch of forest soil act like a living, sticky net. They bind together individual particles of soil, creating stable aggregates. This structure makes the soil porous and spongy, allowing it to absorb and hold vast amounts of rainwater, releasing it slowly to the plants. It also prevents the topsoil, the most fertile and precious layer, from being eroded by wind and water. The fungal network is the quiet, unsung hero of soil conservation. It is the living glue that holds the fertile earth in place, ensuring the long-term stability and health of the entire landscape. A fungal network can remain dormant for years, waiting patiently for the right conditions to awaken. In times of drought or extreme cold, a mycelial network can enter a state of suspended animation. It slows its metabolism to an almost imperceptible level, conserving its energy and resources, and simply waits. It is an act of profound patience. It can hold itself in this quiet, sleeping state for seasons or even for many years, until the life-giving rains return or the ground thaws. Then, as if taking a slow, deep breath, the entire network can reawaken within hours, its threads once again beginning their silent work of growing, exploring, and connecting. It is a life form that has mastered the art of patient waiting. The quiet branching of these threads is a slow, patient exploration of the dark, rich earth. The growth of mycelium is not a frantic rush, but a methodical and graceful process. The tip of each thread, called a hypha, extends itself through the soil, releasing digestive enzymes and absorbing nutrients. It navigates around obstacles, finds tiny passageways, and seeks out new sources of food. It is a form of exploration that is both gentle and relentless. The entire network is constantly extending its senses into new territories, mapping the subterranean world in a slow, continuous act of discovery. It is a quiet, deliberate expansion of self into the unknown. In the soil, there is a constant, silent dialogue happening between roots and fungi. This is not a monologue where the fungus simply takes from the root or vice versa. It is a complex and continuous chemical conversation. The plant root releases specific chemicals that signal its needs, perhaps for more phosphorus or water. The fungal network detects these signals and responds, delivering the requested resources. In return, the fungus sends its own signals, requesting the sugars it needs to survive. It is a constant negotiation, a back-and-forth exchange of information that allows both partners to thrive. The dark soil is a place of ceaseless, silent communication. The total length of mycelium in the top layer of Earth's soil is so vast it would stretch across many galaxies. If you could take all the fungal mycelium from just the top few inches of all the soil on our planet and weave it into a single thread, its length would be almost unimaginable. It would stretch far beyond our solar system, past the nearest stars, across the entire Milky Way galaxy, and then on to our neighboring galaxies and beyond. The number is so large it becomes almost meaningless, but it serves as a powerful reminder of the sheer scale of this hidden biosphere. It is a truly planetary-sized life form, a living web that enshrouds the entire globe just beneath its surface. Fungi do not have mouths. They digest their food on the outside before gently absorbing it. An animal eats by ingesting food and breaking it down inside its body. A fungus does the exact opposite. The tips of its mycelial threads release powerful enzymes into the environment around them, whether it be a fallen leaf, a log, or a particle of soil. These enzymes break down the complex organic matter into small, simple molecules. The fungus then absorbs these pre-digested nutrients directly through its cell walls. In a very real sense, the entire mycelial network is a single, vast, external stomach, slowly and silently digesting the world around it. It is a quiet and incredibly efficient way of feeding. The edge of a growing mycelial network is a place of constant, quiet discovery. The very tips of the expanding hyphae are the sensory organs of the fungus. This is where it touches its world, where it tastes the chemistry of the soil, where it feels the presence of a nearby root or a piece of wood. It is a distributed sense of touch and taste spread out over an area of acres. The growing fringe of the network is a frontier of exploration, a place where millions of tiny, delicate threads are all simultaneously reaching out into the unknown, gathering information and deciding where to grow next. It is a slow, silent, and continuous act of mapping the hidden world. Some fungi create intricate branching patterns that look like delicate ice crystals forming in the soil. When grown in a laboratory dish, the mycelium of some fungi will expand outwards in beautiful, fractal patterns. These patterns are not random. They are the result of the organism trying to explore its environment as efficiently as possible, a perfect mathematical solution to the problem of finding food. The same beautiful branching logic applies in the complex three-dimensional world of the soil. The network creates forms of incredible, hidden beauty, structures that follow the same elegant, natural laws as the formation of a snowflake, the branching of a tree, or the carving of a river into the land. This hidden kingdom is the great foundation upon which the entire forest is built. Without the constant, patient work of the fungi, the forest as we know it could not exist. Without their recycling, the soil would run out of nutrients. Without their symbiotic networks, many trees would be unable to absorb enough water and minerals to grow. Without their threads holding the earth together, the ground itself would wash away. The fungi are the essential and often invisible partners in every aspect of the forest's life. They are the foundational layer, the operating system, the quiet, powerful force that allows the visible world of green to flourish. Fungi are the true architects of the world beneath our feet. They are not just inhabitants of the soil, they are its creators and its engineers. As they decompose organic matter, they build the rich, complex structure of humus that is the lifeblood of fertile earth. Their networks create channels and pores that allow air and water to penetrate deep into the ground. They are constantly at work, shaping and reshaping the subterranean landscape, building a healthy, resilient, and life-giving home for the entire community of soil organisms. The world beneath us is not a random collection of particles, but a carefully constructed and constantly maintained living edifice. A single cubic inch of soil can contain enough fungal threads to stretch for miles. The sheer density of this life is breathtaking. In a small cube of healthy forest soil that you could hold in the palm of your hand, there is a miniature universe. It contains not just the miles of fungal hyphae, but also billions of bacteria, thousands of protozoa, and countless other microscopic creatures. The fungal network is the matrix in which this entire ecosystem lives, the great, sprawling city of which all the other organisms are citizens. It is a world of immense richness and complexity, hidden within the smallest handful of Earth. The network can redistribute its own energy and resources, sending them where they are needed most. A mycelial network does not operate like a simple pipe where things only flow in one direction. It is a smart grid. If one part of the network finds a rich new source of food, it can break down those nutrients and transport them through the web to other parts of the network that may be in less fertile ground. It can support its own exploratory growth into new areas, sending energy from the established, well-fed core to the pioneering fringes. It is a single, cooperative entity capable of managing its own internal economy with remarkable efficiency. The life of a fungus is a slow, timeless, and silent dance in the dark. It is a life lived without urgency, without hurry. It is a process of gentle, persistent expansion and connection. It does not measure its success in days or weeks, but in the slow, steady creation of soil, the patient support of its partner trees, and its own quiet, enduring persistence through the ages. To contemplate the life of a fungus is to step into a different kind of time, a deeper and more patient rhythm than our own. It is a silent, graceful ballet of growth and decay, connection and release, unfolding in the peaceful darkness beneath the world. The earth beneath you is not solid and inert, but alive and woven together. Let this be a final thought on this hidden world. The ground that feels so solid and dependable is, in fact, a living, breathing entity. It is held together, nourished, and connected by this vast and ancient fungal kingdom. The earth is not just a stage for life, it is a form of life itself, a great planetary-scale symbiosis between the mineral and the organic. Every step you take is upon the back of this immense, quiet, and wonderfully complex being. Fungi are the great recyclers of our planet, turning death back into life. In every ecosystem, there is a constant flow of energy and nutrients. Plants capture sunlight, animals eat plants, and when they all eventually die, it is the fungi that perform the final, crucial step. They are the masters of deconstruction. With their powerful enzymes, they gently and patiently disassemble the complex molecules of dead wood, fallen leaves, and other organic matter, breaking them down into their simple, elemental components. This act releases the locked-away nutrients, returning them to the soil in a form that new plants can use. It is a perfect closed loop, a cycle of renewal that ensures the continuation of life. A fallen tree in the forest is not an end, but a great feast for the fungal kingdom. To our eyes, a dead tree might look like a sad and static monument, but to the world of fungi, it is a bustling, vibrant new beginning. It is a vast and complex structure filled with locked-away energy and nutrients. Spores land on its bark, and dormant mycelium in the soil awakens to the new food source. Countless fungal threads begin their slow, methodical work of penetrating the wood, their enzymes dissolving the tough cellular structures. The log becomes a new center of life, a quiet hub of activity, a place of transformation where the substance of the old tree is slowly and gracefully prepared to feed the next generation of the forest. Without fungi, our world would be buried under a deep layer of dead plants and trees. Imagine a world where nothing ever decayed. Every leaf that fell, every branch that broke, every tree that toppled would simply lie there, piling up year after year, century after century. The nutrients within them would remain locked away forever, unavailable for new growth. The forests would eventually choke on their own undecomposed past. Life would grind to a halt. It is the quiet, persistent, and often invisible work of the fungi that prevents this from happening. They are the essential housekeepers of the planet, ensuring that the cycle of life can continue to turn. The patient work of a fungus is to gently unlock the nutrients stored in dead wood. A tree spends its entire life drawing minerals from the soil and carbon from the air, carefully building them into the complex and resilient structure of wood. When the tree falls, these precious resources are locked away in a fortress of lignin and cellulose. Fungi are the key masters, the only organisms with the full enzymatic toolkit to systematically dismantle this fortress. It is a slow and deliberate process, not of brute force, but of subtle, persistent chemistry. It is a quiet act of liberation, setting free the elements that will allow new life to spring forth. Fungi are one of the very few organisms that can break down the tough lignin in wood. Lignin is the compound that gives wood its incredible strength and rigidity. It is a dense, complex polymer that is extremely difficult to digest. Most bacteria and animals cannot touch it. But a group of fungi known as white rot fungi have evolved the unique ability to produce the specific enzymes needed to break lignin apart. This is a crucial step in the planet's carbon cycle. By decomposing lignin, these fungi release the carbon back into the ecosystem, preventing it from being locked away for geological timescales. They are the gatekeepers of the forest's carbon store. This process of decay is not a destructive act, but an act of profound creation. We often associate decay with sadness or loss, but from the perspective of the ecosystem, it is a moment of pure potential. The breakdown of a complex structure into its simple components is what allows for new, different, and wonderful things to be built. The decay of a log is the creation of soil. It is the creation of a home for insects and small animals. It is the creation of a nursery for new seedlings. The fungi are not destroying the log. They are transforming it, rebirthing it into 1,000 different new forms. It is the ultimate act of creative renewal. As fungi break down a fallen log, they are creating the rich, dark soil of the future. The soft, crumbly, sweet-smelling substance that is left behind after fungi have finished their work is the foundation of a healthy forest. This humus is rich in organic matter, capable of holding immense amounts of water and teeming with microbial life. It is the perfect medium for a young seed to germinate and a young seedling to send down its tender roots. The great trees of the future will be built from the substance of the trees of the past, a legacy made possible by the quiet, transformative work of their fungal partners. The beautiful, scalloped shapes of a shelf fungus on a tree are the tools of this slow recycling. When you see a bracket fungus or a shelf fungus growing like a small balcony from the side of a tree, you are seeing the reproductive organ of a vast mycelial network that is already at work deep inside the wood. The network itself is the agent of decay, its threads spreading through the tree's heartwood, patiently dissolving it. The visible shelf is just the temporary structure it builds to send its spores out into the world, to find the next fallen log that is ready to begin its own journey of transformation. It is the beautiful signature of a hidden world-shaping process. This decomposition is a quiet, gentle chemistry performed over decades. A large log does not vanish overnight. The process of its decay is a slow, methodical, and graceful one. It can take 50, 100, or even more years for a great tree to be fully returned to the soil. Year after year, season after season, the fungi continue their patient work. They are never in a hurry. They are perfectly synchronized with the slow, deep rhythms of the forest itself. Their work is a form of geological time, a process of change so slow that it is almost invisible to our hurried eyes, but which is constantly and steadily reshaping the world. Fungi release ancient minerals and nutrients, making them available for new plants to use. The minerals that a tree uses to grow, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, are drawn up from the deep earth by its roots over the course of its life. When the tree falls, these minerals are trapped within its woody structure. The decomposing action of the fungi is what liberates these essential elements, returning them to the topsoil where the shallow roots of new plants and seedlings can access them. The fungi act as the forest's bankers, taking the wealth of the old generation and making it available as the starting capital for the new. A rotting log becomes a soft, damp nursery for new seedlings enriched by its fungal inhabitants. Walk through an old-growth forest and you will often see a perfectly straight line of young trees, all growing on a long, raised mound. This mound is the ghost of a great fallen tree, now completely decomposed into a rich and fertile bed of soil. This nurse log is the ideal place for a seed to sprout. It is soft, it holds moisture like a sponge, and it is full of the nutrients released by the fungi. It is a perfect cradle created by the process of decay, showing how the end of one life provides the perfect beginning for many others. The patterns of decay you see in old wood are a map of the fungal colonies working within. If you look closely at a piece of rotting wood, you will often see beautiful, intricate patterns of dark lines on its surface. This is called spalting. These lines are not part of the wood itself. They are the borderlands, the frontiers where two different fungal colonies have met and formed a boundary. Each colony is claiming its own territory within the wood, and these dark lines are the walls they build between them. The beautiful marbled patterns are a visible record of the invisible competition and coexistence of the hidden kingdom at work. Some fungi specialize in recycling just one type of leaf or fallen branch. The world of decomposer fungi is one of incredible specificity. There are some species that will only grow on the fallen needles of a particular species of pine tree. Others might specialize in the decaying leaves of an oak tree or the tough outer bark of a birch. Each one has its own unique set of enzymatic tools, perfectly adapted for one particular job. This incredible diversity of specialists ensures that every single bit of organic matter in the forest, no matter how unusual, has a partner in the fungal kingdom that is ready to gently and efficiently recycle it. The work of decay is a silent, cooperative effort by countless microscopic threads. It is not just one fungus that decomposes a log, but an entire succession of them. First come the pioneer species which colonize the fresh wood and begin to break down the simplest sugars. As they change the chemistry of the wood, they create the right conditions for the next wave of fungi to move in, the ones that can tackle the tougher cellulose. And finally, after many years, come the specialists that can break down the most resilient lignin. It is a slow, choreographed relay race, a great, silent, and cooperative project involving dozens of different species over many decades. A forest is constantly breathing, inhaling carbon into trees and exhaling it through the work of fungi. Think of the entire forest ecosystem as a single great lung. During the day, the trees and plants breathe in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, using sunlight to turn it into wood and leaves. This is the great inhalation. The fungi, along with other soil microbes, perform the great exhalation. As they decompose the dead organic matter, they release that stored carbon back into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide, where it can be used by the plants again. It is a perfect, balanced breath, a planetary scale cycle of carbon that is moderated by the quiet, steady work of the fungal kingdom. Fungi ensure that nothing in the forest is ever truly wasted. In the economy of nature, there is no concept of waste. Every byproduct, every fallen leaf, every dead creature is simply a resource for another part of the system. Fungi are the absolute masters of this principle. They are the ultimate opportunists capable of finding a way to make a living from almost any form of organic matter. Their constant, patient work ensures that all the energy and all the nutrients that have been gathered by living things are eventually returned to the great communal pool, ready to be used again. It is the foundation of a truly sustainable world. The circular patterns of mushrooms on a lawn, called fairy rings, are the outer edge of a decomposing patch. A fairy ring begins when a single fungal spore starts to grow in the soil. Its mycelium expands outwards in all directions, creating a circular colony. As the network grows and ages, it uses up the nutrients in the center, so it only produces its mushrooms at the active, growing outer edge. The ring of mushrooms we see is the visible echo of this expanding underground circle. Each year, the ring gets a little wider, a slow, beautiful ripple spreading across the grass, showing the patient outward growth of the hidden organism. The softness of the forest floor is a gift from generations of fungal decay. When you walk through a mature forest, the ground is not hard and compacted. It is soft, springy, and forgiving. This beautiful texture is the result of centuries of work by the fungal kingdom. It is the accumulation of countless fallen leaves and logs, all gently transformed into a deep, rich, porous layer of humus. This layer is a great sponge, a soft cushion, and a vast reservoir of life. The very feeling of peace and quiet in an old forest is tied to this softness, a physical quality created by the patient, invisible labor of the fungi. Fungi are the bridge that connects the end of one life to the beginning of the next. They are the great mediators between the world of the dead and the world of the living. They stand at the gateway of this profound transformation, their quiet chemistry dissolving the forms of the past and releasing their substance to become the building blocks of the future. It is a role of immense and quiet importance. They are the humble and essential alchemists of the ecosystem, turning what has been into what is yet to be. They are the masters of turning the past into the future. It is perhaps the most beautiful way to think of their work. They do not mourn the past or cling to it. They simply accept it as a gift, a resource, a treasure trove of stored energy. And with their silent, patient, and methodical work, they transform that gift into a promise. They take the great fallen pillars of the forest and turn them into the soft, rich soil that will cradle the tiny, tender roots of the seedlings that will one day become the great pillars of a new forest. It is a perfect and unending cycle of renewal. The process of making compost in a garden is just a way of inviting this gentle fungal work. When we create a compost pile, we are simply trying to replicate the natural processes of the forest floor. We are gathering organic matter, fallen leaves, kitchen scraps, grass clippings, and creating the perfect warm, damp environment for the decomposer fungi and bacteria to thrive. The heat that rises from a healthy compost pile is the heat of their metabolic work, the energy being released as they break down the complex materials. The rich, dark compost that results is the same precious humus that fungi create on the forest floor, a gift of fertility for the garden. This recycling maintains the health and resilience of the entire ecosystem. A forest that has a healthy and diverse community of decomposer fungi is a strong and resilient one. The rapid and efficient recycling of nutrients ensures that the trees are well fed and can withstand disease and stress. The healthy soil structure created by the fungi helps the forest survive periods of drought. By ensuring that the fundamental building blocks of life are always available, the fungi act as the quiet guardians of the entire ecosystem's long-term health and stability. They are the foundation of a forest that can endure for ages. Fungi are the quiet, unsung heroes of every forest on Earth. We so often marvel at the great trees, the beautiful flowers, and the charismatic animals of the forest. But beneath them all, performing a role that is just as vital, is this hidden kingdom. They do their work in the darkness without any need for recognition. Theirs is a silent, humble, and absolutely essential contribution. Without them, the entire magnificent structure of the forest would collapse. They are a powerful reminder that the most important work is often the work that is done quietly, patiently, and out of sight. The slow, patient dissolving of a leaf is an act of gentle transformation. Consider a single autumn leaf as it falls to the forest floor. It is a small, perfect structure, a memory of a summer of sunlight. A fungal spore floating on the air finds this leaf and begins to grow. Its fine threads penetrate the leaf's surface, releasing enzymes that slowly unlock its stored carbon and minerals. The leaf's sharp edges soften. Its vibrant color fades into the deep, rich brown of the earth. Over months, it loses its form, its substance merging with the soil. This is not an act of violence, but a gentle, respectful process of disassembly. The fungus is not destroying the leaf, but honoring its life by carefully and methodically returning its essence to the great cycle of the forest, ensuring its energy will be used once more. The world is in a constant state of renewal thanks to this hidden kingdom. Every moment in every forest and field across the globe, this quiet work is happening. The past is being continuously and gracefully transformed into the future. The fungi are the tireless agents of this renewal, the essential link in the unbroken chain of life. They ensure that the world does not become a static museum of its own history, but remains a dynamic, vibrant, and ever-changing place. Their work is a quiet promise that every ending is also a new beginning, and that the energy of life is never lost, but only ever changes its form. It is a deeply restful thought that the world is always and forever remaking itself. The roots of nearly every plant on Earth are woven together with fungal partners. This is one of the most profound and beautiful truths of the living world. It is not an exception, but the rule. From the smallest wildflower to the most ancient, towering redwood, almost all plants depend on a deep, symbiotic relationship with fungi. These are not the decomposer fungi that break down the dead, but a different group called mycorrhizal fungi. Their fine, delicate threads integrate themselves with the plant's root system, sometimes forming a sheath around the root tips, sometimes penetrating deep inside the root cells themselves. This intimate connection is an ancient treaty, a partnership that has shaped the evolution of all life on land. The green world we see above is only possible because of this hidden cooperative world below. A great forest can act like a single organism, connected by an underground fungal network. The individual trees may look like separate entities, competing for sunlight and space. But beneath the soil, a different story is unfolding. The mycelial networks of these mycorrhizal fungi connect the roots of one tree to the roots of another, and another, and another. A single fungal network can connect hundreds of trees, creating a vast physiological unit. This network acts like a shared, external nervous and circulatory system for the entire forest. Information, nutrients, and water can flow from one part of this superorganism to another, allowing the entire woodland community to respond and behave as a single, coordinated, and intelligent being. This network has been called the Wood Wide Web, a living internet for trees. It is a beautiful and fitting analogy for this complex communicative network. Just as our internet allows us to share information across vast distances, this fungal web allows the trees to be in constant, silent dialogue. But this is an internet made not of light and wires, but of living, growing, and responsive threads. It is an internet that doesn't just carry information, but also physical sustenance. It is a web that has been operating for hundreds of millions of years, a perfect, self-repairing, and deeply intelligent system that connects the entire community in a web of mutual support. Through this fungal web, trees can share water and nutrients with each other. A tree that is well established with its canopy high in the sunlight often produces more sugar through photosynthesis than it immediately needs. It can send this surplus sugar down through its roots and out into the shared fungal network. The mycelium can then transport these precious calories to other trees that are in need, perhaps a young sapling struggling in the deep shade, or an older tree that is sick or stressed. In the same way, a tree in a wet patch of soil can share its excess water with a neighbor in a drier spot. It is a quiet, underground economy based on the principle of from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. A tall, healthy parent tree can send sugars through the network to help a small seedling in the shade. This is one of the most touching discoveries about this hidden network. A mother tree does not just drop her seeds and leave them to their fate. She can actively nurture her offspring. The seedlings that grow near her are often plugged into her own root system via the same fungal network. Through this connection, she can shunt a steady supply of nutrients to them, giving them the energy they need to survive their vulnerable early years in the dark understory before they are tall enough to reach the sunlight for themselves. The forest is not a place of ruthless competition, but a nurturing, cooperative nursery. Trees can also send chemical warning signals to each other through their shared fungal partners. If a tree is attacked by a pest, like a swarm of hungry insects, it doesn't just suffer in silence. As its leaves are being eaten, it produces a variety of defensive chemical compounds. But it also sends a specific chemical signal down through its roots and into the mycelial network. This signal travels through the web to neighboring trees, even those of different species, warning them of the impending danger. The receiving trees can then ramp up their own defensive systems, producing chemicals that make their leaves less palatable before the insects even arrive. It is a forest-wide alarm system, a silent cry of danger that ripples through the shared underground consciousness. The fungus acts like a vast extension of the tree's own root system. A plant's roots on their own are relatively thick and can only explore a small volume of the surrounding soil. But when a plant partners with a mycorrhizal fungus, its reach is extended 1,000-fold. The fungal threads are incredibly fine, a fraction of the width of a root hair, allowing them to penetrate the tiniest pores in the soil that roots could never access. They form a vast absorptive web that draws in water and scarce minerals like phosphorus and nitrogen with incredible efficiency, delivering them directly to the plant's roots. In exchange for this service, the plant provides the fungus with the sugars it cannot make for itself. It is a perfect and ancient partnership. This network is so efficient it can increase the surface area of a tree's roots by thousands of times. Imagine the root system of a single tree. Now imagine adding a vast, shimmering web of millions of miles of extra, ultrafine root hairs to that system. That is the gift of the mycorrhizal fungus. This colossal increase in surface area allows the tree to gather resources from a much larger volume of soil than it ever could on its own. It is the difference between trying to drink from a river with a single straw and drinking from it with a million tiny sponges. This incredible efficiency is what allows the great ancient forests of the world to thrive, even in soils that might be poor in nutrients. In this partnership, the tree gives the fungus sugars and the fungus gives the tree minerals. It is one of the most fundamental and successful exchanges in the history of life. The tree, with its green leaves, is a master of capturing sunlight and turning it into energy-rich sugars. The fungus, with its vast exploratory network, is a master of mining the soil for scarce mineral resources. Neither can survive without the other. So they trade. It is a silent, underground marketplace where the currency of sunlight is exchanged for the currency of the earth. This quiet, constant commerce is the economic engine that drives the entire forest ecosystem. Some plants, like orchids, cannot even begin their lives without the help of a fungal partner. The seeds of an orchid are incredibly tiny, almost like dust. They contain virtually no stored food to give the seedling a start in life. A seed that lands on the ground cannot germinate on its own. It must first be found and adopted by a specific type of mycorrhizal fungus. The fungal threads will penetrate the seed and begin to feed it a steady supply of all the nutrients it needs to grow its first tiny leaves and roots. Only then, once it can begin to photosynthesize for itself, can it start to pay back its fungal foster parent. The life of every beautiful exotic orchid begins with this act of profound subterranean charity. The health of the trees and the health of the fungi are deeply intertwined. You cannot have a healthy forest without a healthy and diverse community of fungi in the soil. And you cannot have a healthy fungal community without healthy trees to feed it. They are two parts of a single, integrated system. When a forest is clear-cut, it is not just the trees that are lost, but also the ancient, intricate mycelial network that connected them, a network that may have taken centuries to develop. This loss is a deep and lasting wound to the land, making it much more difficult for a new, healthy forest to regrow. The life of the forest is one indivisible whole. This underground economy is based on cooperation, not just competition. For a long time, we viewed nature as a place of constant, red-toothed struggle, of every individual fighting for its own survival. But the discoveries of the Wood Wide Web are painting a different, more gentle picture. The forest is also a place of immense cooperation, of mutual aid, of shared resources and communication. The fungal network is the primary medium for this cooperation. It shows that communities can be more resilient and successful when they are interconnected and supportive. It is a quiet, powerful lesson being taught by the ancient wisdom of the forest. A lichen, which can grow on bare rock, is a partnership between a fungus and an algae. In some of the most barren and inhospitable places on Earth, on exposed granite cliffs, on desert rocks, on Arctic tundra, you will find the quiet, colorful patterns of lichens. A lichen is not a single organism. It is a composite being, a perfect and inseparable symbiosis between a fungus and a photosynthetic partner, which is usually an algae or a cyanobacteria. This partnership is a marvel of cooperation. It is a way for two different forms of life to come together to achieve something that neither could do alone. The fungus in a lichen creates a safe house, and the algae provides food through photosynthesis. The fungal partner is the architect of the lichen. It builds the physical structure, a tough, protective body that can anchor itself to the rock and withstand extreme heat, cold, and drought. This structure creates a safe and stable home for the microscopic algae cells, protecting them from the harsh environment. In return, the algae, with their ability to perform photosynthesis, act as the live-in chef, constantly producing sugars from sunlight and sharing them with their fungal host. It is a perfect, self-contained, and mutually beneficial household. This partnership allows life to exist in some of the harshest environments on Earth. Lichens are the ultimate pioneers because they can create their own food and anchor themselves to almost any surface. They can be the very first life to colonize a new and barren landscape, like a fresh lava flow or a bare rock face scoured by a retreating glacier. As they grow, they slowly and patiently begin the process of creating soil. Their fungal threads release acids that ever so slowly etch away the surface of the rock, and their bodies trap dust and moisture from the air. Over centuries, their patient work creates the first small pockets of soil where a moss or a hardy grass can begin to grow. Lichens can survive in the freezing cold of Antarctica and the vacuum of outer space. Their resilience is almost beyond belief. They can shut down their metabolism completely, entering a state of suspended animation called cryptobiosis. In this state, they can endure almost total dehydration, extreme temperatures, and high levels of radiation. In one experiment, lichens were taken on a spacecraft and exposed directly to the vacuum and radiation of open space for 2 weeks. When they were returned to Earth and rehydrated, they revived and continued to grow as if nothing had happened. They are among the toughest and most resilient life forms known on our planet. The slow growth of a lichen on a stone is a patient painting of life onto a blank canvas. Lichens grow incredibly slowly, some of them less than a millimeter per year. The beautiful circular patches of color you see on an old stone wall or a mountain boulder may be hundreds or even thousands of years old. They are some of the oldest living things on Earth. Each one is a slow, patient, and beautiful act of creation. It is life asserting itself in the most gentle and persistent way possible, adding a soft, living patina to the hard, ancient bones of the world. Leafcutter ants in the tropics are not eating leaves. They are farmers that grow of a special kind of fungus. Deep in their vast underground nests, these ants practice a form of agriculture they have perfected over millions of years. The long trails of ants you see carrying pieces of leaves are not taking them home to eat. The leaves are inedible to them. Instead, they are taking them to their fungal gardens. They chew the leaves into a pulp and use it as a compost to feed a very specific species of fungus that they cultivate. This fungus grows on the pulp, and it is the fungus itself that the ants then harvest and eat. The entire ant colony depends on the health of its carefully tended fungal garden. The relationship is one of total codependence. The ants cannot survive without the fungus, and this particular species of fungus is found nowhere else in the world. It can only survive inside the ants' nests. The ants are expert gardeners. They carefully weed their fungal patches, removing any invading pest fungi. They manure the gardens with their own waste. The queen ant, when she flies off to start a new colony, carries a small piece of the precious fungus with her in a special pouch in her mouth. It is a beautiful, ancient, and perfectly balanced partnership between two different kingdoms of life. The universe of fungi is built on these ancient and intricate relationships, from the great continent-spanning partnerships with plants to the intimate, self-contained world of a lichen, to the strange and wonderful agriculture of the leafcutter ants. The story of fungi is a story of connection. They are not solitary organisms. Their success lies in their ability to form mutually beneficial relationships, to weave themselves into the lives of other beings, to create systems that are more resilient and successful than any individual could be on its own. They are the great networkers of the natural world. It is a world where connection and cooperation are the keys to survival. The fungal kingdom offers a gentle, profound lesson. It demonstrates that life is not just about individual struggle, but also about the power of community, the strength of partnership, and the quiet beauty of mutual support. The threads of the mycelium are a physical manifestation of this principle, a tangible reminder that all life is interconnected, and that the health of the individual is inseparable from the health of the whole. It is a deeply peaceful and reassuring model of existence. The forest is not a collection of individuals, but a great interconnected community. Let this be the image that rests in your mind. The tall, silent trees, the soft green mosses, the delicate wildflowers, the busy insects, and the quiet animals are all woven together, supported and connected by this vast, hidden, and benevolent fungal network. The forest floor is not a place of division, but a place of constant, silent, and life-giving communion. It is a single, great family, and the fungi are the threads that hold them all together in one beautiful, intricate, and resilient web of life. Fungi are the threads that weave this living tapestry together. Imagine the world of life as a great and ancient loom. The plants are the strong, vertical threads of the warp, reaching for the sky. The animals are the colorful, transient threads of the weft, moving through the pattern. And the fungi are the loom itself, the hidden structure of threads that holds everything in place, that connects the warp to the weft, that allows the beautiful and complex pattern of the ecosystem to emerge. They are the quiet, essential, and foundational artists of the living world. There are more connections happening beneath the soil than we can possibly imagine. We are only at the very beginning of understanding this hidden world. Every new study reveals new layers of complexity, new forms of communication, new types of partnership. The world beneath our feet is a universe of its own, as rich and unexplored as the deep ocean or a distant galaxy. It is a place of profound mystery and wonder, a quiet reminder that the most important things are often the things we cannot see. The Earth is alive with a silent, secret, and unimaginably complex conversation. Some mushrooms create their own soft green light, turning the forest floor into a starlit landscape. Deep in the damp, dark forests of Brazil or Japan, a magical phenomenon occurs. As night falls, the logs and fallen leaves on the ground begin to emit a soft, ethereal, greenish glow. This is not moonlight, but the light of bioluminescent fungi. The mycelium, and sometimes the mushrooms themselves, are producing their own light through a quiet chemical reaction, the same process that lights up a firefly. The purpose of this cold, silent light is still a gentle mystery. Perhaps it is to attract insects that will help spread the fungus's spores. Whatever its reason, it transforms the forest into a dreamscape, a place of quiet. Living constellations on the ground. This gentle bioluminescence is sometimes called foxfire or fairy fire. The names themselves evoke a sense of magic and wonder, of a world touched by enchantment. For centuries, people have been captivated by this strange, cold light. It was said to be the light of forest spirits, a guide through the darkness. To see a piece of glowing wood is to see a small, contained galaxy of fungal threads, each one emitting its own tiny point of light. It is a quiet, beautiful, and completely natural magic, a reminder that the world is filled with a soft and gentle light. Even in the very darkest of places, mushrooms can appear overnight, rising from the earth as if by magic. One day a patch of lawn or a forest floor is empty, and the next it is dotted with the perfect domed shapes of fresh mushrooms. This sudden appearance is not so much an act of growth as it is an act of inflation. The tiny pre-formed mushroom, called a primordium, already exists in the soil like a tightly folded bud. When the conditions are right, the mycelial network pumps it full of water. The cells rapidly expand, and the mushroom swells and rises from the earth in a matter of hours. It is a quiet, hydraulic marvel, a sculpture made of water emerging silently in the night. The incredible diversity of mushroom shapes is a wonder of the natural world. The fungal kingdom is an endless exhibition of natural artistry. There is no single blueprint for a mushroom. They have evolved into a bewildering and beautiful array of forms, each one a unique solution to the problem of dispersing spores. From the classic toadstool shape to the most bizarre and otherworldly structures, the variety is seemingly infinite. It is a quiet, creative explosion of form, a testament to the endless inventiveness of nature. To walk through a forest in autumn is to walk through a gallery of a million different, beautiful and ephemeral sculptures. There are mushrooms that look like delicate corals, snowy waterfalls and tiny birds' nests. The coral fungi grow in intricate, branching structures that look exactly like the corals of a tropical reef, but in shades of yellow, pink and white. The lion's mane mushroom grows as a great, soft, white mass of cascading spines, looking for all the world like a frozen waterfall or a snowy beard. And the tiny bird's nest fungi create perfect, miniature cups, inside of which sit small, egg-like cases full of spores. They are all expressions of a deep, natural artistry, a quiet and playful exploration of what is possible. A mushroom is over 90% water, a solid-seeming sculpture made almost entirely of moisture. It feels solid and firm to the touch, yet its substance is almost entirely composed of water, held in a delicate microscopic scaffolding of chitin. This is why they can appear so quickly and why they can disappear just as fast. When the sun comes out or the air becomes dry, the water evaporates and the beautiful structure shrivels and melts back into the earth. It is a temporary gathering of water, a brief, solid form given to the morning dew, a fleeting and beautiful expression of the forest's own moisture. The colors of mushrooms can range from the brightest reds to the deepest blues and violets. The palette of the fungal kingdom is a rich and surprising one. There are the fiery reds of the fly agaric, the sunny yellows of the chanterelle, the deep royal purples of the amethyst deceiver, and the almost electric blues of the indigo milk cap. These colors are created by complex pigments, many of which are unique to the fungal world. They serve various purposes, from attracting animals to warning them away, but their primary effect is one of simple, breathtaking beauty, splashes of unexpected color in the greens and browns of the forest floor. Some mushrooms have gills that are as fine and delicate as the pages of a book. If you turn over the cap of a common mushroom, you will see a series of delicate, radiating plates called gills. This is where the spores are produced. This structure is a marvel of natural engineering, a way of packing an enormous amount of surface area into a very small space. If you could unfold all the surfaces of all the gills on a single mushroom, they would cover a remarkably large area. Each gill is a perfectly formed, spore-producing page in the mushroom's brief and beautiful story. The beautiful patterns on a mushroom cap are unique to each individual. The speckled cap of a fly agaric, the scaly surface of a shaggy mane, the concentric rings of a turkey tail. These patterns are not just decorative, they are the result of the mushroom's growth, the way its skin stretches and cracks as it expands. Just like a fingerprint, the exact pattern on a mushroom's cap is a unique record of its own individual journey of becoming. It is a quiet and beautiful expression of its personal history, written on its own surface. A mushroom's only purpose is to lift its spores up into the currents of the air. This entire, intricate and beautiful structure has one humble goal: to give the next generation the best possible start in life. The stem, or stipe, exists to lift the cap up above the still air near the ground into the gentle breezes that blow through the forest. The cap, with its gills or pores, is the perfect platform for producing and releasing the microscopic spores. The entire organism is a perfectly designed launching pad, a beautiful organic tower built for the sole purpose of a silent, hopeful release. The life of a mushroom is often very short, a brief and beautiful appearance before returning to the earth. Many mushrooms last for only a few days. They rise, they mature, they release their spores, and then they begin the process of decay, their soft flesh becoming food for insects and other fungi. They are a perfect metaphor for the beauty of the temporary, the preciousness of a fleeting moment. They are not built for permanence, but for a brief and glorious purpose. Their short lives are a quiet reminder to appreciate the beauty that is here right now, for it may be gone by tomorrow. Some fungi, like truffles, produce their fruit entirely underground. Not all fungi trust the wind to carry their spores. A truffle is the fruiting body of a mycorrhizal fungus that forms a partnership with the roots of trees like oaks and hazelnuts. It remains buried in the soil, and it has evolved a different strategy for dispersal. It produces a powerful and alluring aroma, a scent that can be detected by animals like pigs and dogs. These animals are irresistibly drawn to the scent, and they dig up the truffle to eat it. Later, they will disperse the indigestible spores in their droppings, far from the parent fungus, perfectly planting the next generation. The delicate, web-like veil of a stinkhorn mushroom unfolds in just a few hours. The stinkhorn fungus begins its life as an underground egg. When it is ready, it erupts from the ground with incredible speed, its stalk elongating in a matter of hours. Some species then unfold a beautiful, lacy, and net-like skirt called an indusium that hangs down from the cap. This delicate and intricate veil is one of the most beautiful and ethereal structures in the fungal kingdom. Its beauty is short-lived, however, as its purpose is to attract flies with its strong smell to help disperse its spores, and the entire structure will often collapse by the end of the day. The lion's mane mushroom grows in soft, cascading spines that look like a frozen waterfall. This remarkable mushroom forgoes the traditional cap and gills altogether. Instead, It grows as a large, roundish clump of long, soft white spines that all hang downwards. It looks like the shaggy mane of a lion, or a soft white icicle, or a piece of delicate sea coral. The spores are produced on the surface of each individual hanging spine. It is a completely different and incredibly beautiful architectural solution to the problem of reproduction, a sculpture of pure, soft, cascading white. A turkey tail mushroom grows in beautiful, multicolored shelves that resemble the feathers of a bird. Growing on dead logs and stumps, the turkey tail is one of the most common and beautiful fungi. It grows in tough, semicircular shelves, often in dense, overlapping tiers. The top surface of each shelf is marked with distinct concentric zones of different colors, browns, reds, blues, and creams, giving it the appearance of the fanned tail feathers of a wild turkey. Each band of color is a record of the fungus's growth, a beautiful velvety contour map of its own slow expansion. The indigo milk cap mushroom will bleed a deep blue liquid when it is bruised. This is one of the most startlingly beautiful mushrooms in the forest. Its cap and gills are a striking deep indigo blue, a color that seems almost unnatural in the green and brown landscape. But even more remarkable is what happens when it is damaged. If you break a gill or cut the stem, the mushroom exudes droplets of a deep indigo blue milk or latex. It is a quiet and magical response, a flash of brilliant, otherworldly color from a deep and hidden source. Some mushrooms are so small they can only be seen with a magnifying glass. We often think of the large, impressive toadstools, but the fungal kingdom is also a world of the miniature. There are entire species of mushrooms with perfect, tiny caps and gills and stems that are no bigger than the head of a pin. They grow on fallen leaves, on single pine needles, or on the decaying shells of nuts. To see them, you must get down on your hands and knees and look at the world with a new sense of scale. It is a secret Lilliputian world, a tiny, perfect forest within the larger forest. The latticed sphere of the cage fungus looks like a delicate, alien jewel. Emerging from its underground egg, the cage fungus, or Clathrus ruber, grows into a hollow, spherical structure made of interconnected, reddish arms. It looks like a beautiful, intricate latticework, a piece of organic, geodesic architecture. It is both beautiful and strange, a seemingly impossible form to find growing on the forest floor. Like its cousin the stinkhorn, it uses a strong, unpleasant smell to attract insects which crawl over its inner, spore-covered surfaces and then fly away to spread the fungal gospel. It is a beautiful trap, a fragrant, alien-like bloom. The growth of a mushroom is a quiet hydraulic process, a slow inflation with water. The force of a growing mushroom can be immense. While they seem soft and delicate, a group of mushrooms has the power to push its way up through hard, compacted soil, or even through asphalt pavement. This power does not come from muscle, but from the slow, relentless pressure of water. The mycelial network acts as a great hydraulic pump, forcing water into the cells of the mushroom, causing them to swell and elongate with a quiet, irresistible force. It is the gentle power of water focused and directed into a single, determined purpose. The forms of mushrooms seem to come from a world of dreams. Their strange and wonderful architectures do not seem to belong to the same world as the familiar shapes of plants and animals. They seem to follow a different logic, a different set of aesthetic rules. They are like the thoughts of the forest made visible for a fleeting moment. Some are so simple and pure in their geometry, others are so complex and baroque. They are a quiet, recurring reminder that the world is full of more strangeness, more beauty, and more imagination than we can ever fully grasp. To look at a mushroom is to look at a small, perfect, and utterly mysterious piece of natural poetry. The amethyst sativa mushroom has a deep purple color that is almost unreal. In the dappled light of the forest, to catch a glimpse of this small mushroom is to see a splash of pure, royal purple. It is a color you might expect to find in a rare flower or a precious gem, but here it is, rising silently from the fallen leaves. It has a beautiful name too, because as it ages, its brilliant color often fades to a dull brown, deceiving those who are looking for it. For a few short days, however, it is a point of incredible vibrant color, a tiny jewel set in the earth, a quiet and unexpected gift of beauty from the hidden kingdom. Some puffball mushrooms can grow to be larger than a basketball. They begin as small white spheres, but under the right conditions, they can swell to an enormous size in just a few days. A giant puffball is a smooth, white and featureless globe, a simple and perfect form on a grand scale. It has no gills, no stem, no cap. It is simply a container, a great, soft, leathery bag that is slowly filling with trillions upon trillions of microscopic spores. It is a quiet, patient and swelling promise, a huge, silent drum waiting for the right moment to release its cloud of life. The beautiful slimy coating on some mushrooms helps protect them as they grow. This gelatinous layer, which can glisten like a jewel in the forest light, is not just decorative. It serves several important purposes. It helps to keep the mushroom from drying out in the air, a crucial task for an organism made mostly of water. It can also make the mushroom slippery and unapalatable to insects and other small creatures who might want to eat it before it has had a chance to release its spores. It is a simple, elegant, and effective form of self-preservation, a beautiful, glistening shield against the world. The texture of a mushroom can be velvety, smooth, or as rough as stone. To gently touch the cap of a mushroom is to experience a whole world of different surfaces. Some are as soft and fine as velvet, others are as smooth and cool as polished marble. Some are sticky, some are dry and papery, and some are as rough and cracked as ancient leather. Each texture is a part of the mushroom's identity, a result of the way it has grown and the environment it has inhabited. They are a quiet invitation to experience the world not just with our eyes, but with our sense of touch as well, to appreciate the subtle, tactile beauty of these fleeting forms. Each mushroom is a temporary messenger from the vast, hidden kingdom below. It is the part of the fungus that rises up into our world of light and air. It is a brief ambassador sent on a mission of reproduction. It carries the genetic story of the ancient, sprawling network that lives in the timeless darkness of the soil. It is a gesture of hope, a physical manifestation of the organism's desire to continue to spread, to find new homes. And when its work is done, it vanishes, leaving only the memory of its brief, beautiful visit and the invisible legacy of its millions of tiny spores. They are like flowers of the underworld, blooming in the damp and the dark. Unlike the flowers of plants, which follow the sun and the long days of summer, mushrooms follow the moisture and the cool, lengthening nights of autumn. They are the blooms of a different season, a different world. They bring color and form not to the bright, open meadows, but to the deep, shaded, and forgotten corners of the forest. They are a celebration of shadow and decay, a reminder that there is a strange and profound beauty to be found in the places that are often overlooked. The fluted shape of a chanterelle mushroom looks like a golden trumpet. This beautiful mushroom does not have true gills. Instead, its underside has a series of blunt, branching ridges that run down the stem. The whole mushroom is a single, integrated, vase-like shape, often in a beautiful shade of egg yolk, yellow, or apricot orange. It looks like a small golden horn announcing some quiet, important news to the other inhabitants of the forest floor. It is one of the most elegant and gracefully formed of all mushrooms, a simple, perfect, and sculptural expression of its kind. The bleeding tooth fungus produces thick, red droplets that look like strawberry jam. This strange and wonderful fungus is one of nature's most surreal creations. When it is young and moist, its lumpy white surface exudes a thick, bright red liquid. It looks for all the world like the mushroom is bleeding a sugary, ruby-red sap. The effect is startling and beautiful. This liquid is not blood, but a pigmented substance from the mushroom's own metabolism. It is a quiet, bizarre, and unforgettable sight, a mushroom that wears its inner color on the outside as a series of beautiful, glistening jewels. They are nature's quiet, ephemeral sculptures. Each mushroom that rises is a unique and temporary work of art. It is sculpted by its own genetic code and by the specific conditions of the place where it grows. It exists for a few short days, a perfect, silent form in the great green gallery of the forest, and then it dissolves and vanishes forever. There will never be another one exactly like it. This makes each one infinitely precious, a fleeting masterpiece of natural design that asks for nothing more than to be quietly appreciated before it returns to the earth that made it. A mushroom is a beautiful, temporary thought expressed by the forest floor. If the great mycelial network is the mind of the forest, then a mushroom is a single, beautiful idea that it has chosen to make real for a moment. It is a sudden creative impulse, a desire to reach up and touch the world of air and light. It is a physical poem, its form and color telling a silent story. And like a thought, it is an ephemeral thing, here one moment and gone the next, leaving a subtle and lasting impression on the world. A single giant puffball mushroom can release over 7 trillion spores into the wind. The number is so vast that it is difficult to hold in the mind. 7 trillion. That is more than 1,000 times the number of humans on our planet. When the puffball is mature, a single touch or the impact of a raindrop is enough to cause it to burst, sending up a great smoky cloud of its dark, microscopic spores. It is an act of incredible explosive abundance. It is a strategy of overwhelming odds, a quiet faith that out of those trillions upon trillions of tiny travelers, a few will find a welcoming home. Fungal spores are everywhere. Floating silently in the air, you are breathing right now. In every single breath you take, you are inhaling dozens or even hundreds of microscopic fungal spores. They are a constant and universal component of the air, a part of the invisible dust that swirls all around us. They are the reason that a piece of bread left on the counter will eventually grow mold, or that a fallen log in the forest is so quickly colonized. This invisible, airborne river of spores is a constant reminder of the fungal kingdom's quiet, pervasive, and ever-present nature. A spore is a single, microscopic cell, a tiny vessel of possibility. Each spore is a perfectly self-contained survival package. It has a tough, protective outer wall, a small store of food, and the complete genetic blueprint for a new organism. It is a marvel of miniature engineering. It is a dormant, sleeping life form, waiting for the single, perfect signal, the right combination of moisture and food that will tell it to awaken. It is a tiny, sleeping promise, a quiet and patient hope for a new beginning. They are so small and light that they can be carried to the highest reaches of the atmosphere. The spores of fungi are among the lightest and most accomplished travelers in the biological world. They are easily swept up by winds and thermal currents, lifted high above the clouds into the jet stream. There, they can travel for thousands of miles, crossing oceans and continents with effortless ease. They are true global citizens, part of a constant, planetary circulation of microscopic life. A spore that began its journey in a quiet forest here could easily end it on a distant mountain range on the other side of the world. Spores have been found in clouds, in the Arctic ice and drifting over the open ocean. Scientists have sampled the air from high-altitude research planes and found a rich diversity of fungal spores. They have drilled deep into the ancient ice sheets of Greenland and Antarctica and found spores that have been perfectly preserved for thousands of years. They have been found in the air over the most remote parts of the Pacific Ocean, thousands of miles from the nearest land. They are a testament to the incredible and relentless exploratory power of the fungal kingdom. Some fungi have developed their own remarkable ways to launch their spores into the air. Not all fungi rely on the passive hope of the wind. Some take a more active approach. The tiny pilobolus fungus, which grows on animal dung, is a beautiful example. It grows a single black spore packet on top of a transparent stalk that is filled with water. The stalk acts like a lens, focusing the morning light, and it can actually aim itself towards the sun. When the water pressure inside builds to a critical point, the stalk ruptures, firing the spore packet with an acceleration of thousands of Gs, a silent, microscopic cannon shot. The bird's nest. Fungus uses the splash of a raindrop to launch its egg-like spore cases. This tiny, beautiful fungus builds a structure that looks exactly like a miniature bird's nest. Inside the cup-shaped nest, it forms several small, hard eggs, which are actually tough little packets containing the spores. The fungus is now ready. It waits for a falling raindrop to land in the cup at just the right angle. The force of the splash is enough to fling the eggs several feet away, where they can stick to a blade of grass or a twig, ready to begin the next stage of their life. It is a clever and beautiful use of natural hydraulic energy. The gills of a mushroom are a vast and intricate surface for producing millions of spores. The beautiful radiating gills on the underside of a mushroom are a perfect example of nature's ability to solve a complex problem with an elegant design. They create an enormous surface area from which the spores can be produced and dropped into the air. The spores must fall perfectly straight down without touching the sides of the gills. To achieve this, the gills are always oriented in perfect alignment with gravity. Even if the mushroom is growing on a slope, the stem will curve so that the gills are pointing directly towards the center of the earth. If you leave a mushroom cap on a piece of paper overnight, it will create a beautiful spore print. This is a simple and wonderful way to see the invisible. By placing a fresh mushroom cap, gills down, on a piece of white or black paper and covering it with a glass, you allow the millions of falling spores to create a perfect, detailed image of the gill structure. The resulting spore print is a delicate, powdery photograph, a silent explosion of life captured on the page. The colors of the spores can be surprising, not just black or brown, but also white, pink, rust, and even green. It is the mushroom's secret signature made visible. Spores are incredibly resilient and can survive for years in a dormant state. A fungal spore is a tiny biological fortress. Its thick, often pigmented walls protect its precious genetic cargo from the damaging effects of ultraviolet radiation and extreme dehydration. It can withstand incredible heat and cold. In this dormant state, it is one of the most durable forms of life on Earth. It is a time capsule capable of waiting patiently for decades or even longer, for the moment when the world outside becomes a welcoming and hospitable place once more. They are the seeds of the fungal kingdom, searching for a new home. Like a dandelion seed with its parachute or a maple seed with its helicopter wing, a fungal spore is a traveler. It is a single hopeful emissary sent out on a great and perilous journey. Its purpose is to find a small, unclaimed patch of the world, a fallen leaf, a piece of dead wood, a welcoming patch of soil where it can put down roots and begin the slow, patient work of weaving a new network, of becoming a new, hidden kingdom of its own. The air in a forest is a thick, invisible river of countless different spores. If you could see the air in a forest the way you can see the motes of dust in a sunbeam, you would be astounded. You would see a constant, swirling, silent blizzard of microscopic spores of every shape and size imaginable, It is a rich biological soup, a constant rain of new possibilities. This invisible, airborne ecosystem is the medium through which the fungal kingdom communicates, travels, and reproduces itself across the entire landscape. Some scientists believe that fungal spores can act as seeds for the formation of raindrops and snowflakes. High in the atmosphere, water vapor needs a tiny particle, called a nucleus, to condense upon before it can form a droplet or an ice crystal. It turns out that fungal spores are incredibly effective at this. Their surfaces are perfect for gathering water molecules. It is a beautiful and poetic idea that the same tiny spores that are born from the damp, dark forest floor may travel up into the sky and become the very seeds of the clouds that will eventually bring the life-giving rain back down to the forest. A spore is a promise of a new network, a new life, a new beginning. Every single one of the trillions of spores released is a quiet and humble vote of confidence in the future. It is a testament to the relentless, optimistic, and enduring power of life to spread itself, to explore, and to find a way to continue. The entire fungal kingdom is built upon this foundation of countless tiny, hopeful, and incredibly resilient journeys. It is a world built on the gentle, persistent power of the very small. The journey of a spore is a silent, epic voyage on an invisible ocean. It is a journey of pure chance and unimaginable scale. The spore is a passive sailor on the great invisible currents of the wind. It has no control over its direction or its destination. It can only surrender to the flow, trusting that out of the vastness of the world, it will eventually find a safe harbor. It is one of the grandest and most silent migrations on the planet, an endless, invisible diaspora that connects all the ecosystems of the Earth. Most spores will never find a suitable place to grow, a testament to nature's incredible abundance. For every single spore that successfully germinates and grows into a new network, billions upon billions will perish. They will land in the ocean on a dry rock or in a place where the food is wrong. This seeming wastefulness is, in fact, the very heart of nature's strategy. It is a strategy of immense generosity and overwhelming numbers, a quiet acceptance that life is a game of incredible odds, and the only way to win is to play with an abundance of hope. They are the quiet, tireless explorers of the fungal world. While the mycelial network explores the world beneath the soil with its slow, branching growth, the spores explore the world above with their silent, weightless flight. Together they ensure that the fungal kingdom is constantly and thoroughly mapping every available niche and every possible home in the entire biosphere. They are a perfect, two-pronged strategy of exploration, one deep and slow, the other high and fast, both working together to ensure the quiet, pervasive, and enduring presence of their kind. The release of spores from a mushroom is a silent, invisible explosion of life. It is an act of release that is the very opposite of violent. It is a soft, gentle, and almost imperceptible letting go. From the delicate gills of a mushroom, a continuous, invisible curtain of spores falls silently into the air. It is a process that can continue for days, a slow, steady, and quiet exhalation of future possibilities. It is a beautiful and peaceful demonstration of life's deep and powerful impulse to give of itself. A single breath of air connects you to the journeys of a million tiny spores. Let this be a final connecting thought. With every breath you take, you are participating in this ancient global cycle. You are breathing in the tiny, hopeful travelers that have come from the forests and fields around you, and perhaps from continents half a world away. You are a momentary resting place in their endless, silent journey. It is a quiet, intimate, and constant reminder of your own deep connection to the invisible, breathing, and ever-present world of fungi. Fungi represent a form of life as different from plants as you are from an insect. They are a separate and ancient kingdom, a fundamentally different way of being alive. They are not plant, not animal, but something other, something in between, something uniquely and wonderfully themselves. To study them is to gain a new perspective on the very definition of life, to appreciate the incredible diversity of solutions that evolution has discovered. They are a quiet and powerful reminder that the world is not a simple duality, but a rich and complex tapestry of many different kinds of existence. The cell walls of fungi are made of chitin, the same tough material found in the shells of crabs and insects. This is a deep biochemical clue to their ancient and surprising lineage. While plants build their rigid cell walls out of cellulose, fungi use this strong, flexible, and resilient material that is so characteristic of the animal kingdom. It is a sign of their shared ancestry, a chemical echo of that moment over 1 billion years ago when our two kingdoms parted ways. It is a quiet reminder that the hard shell of a beetle and the soft body of a mushroom are built from the very same stuff. This ancient kingdom branched off from our own animal lineage over 1 billion years ago. Imagine the tree of life, a vast, ancient and branching form stretching back through deep time. The branch that would eventually lead to all plants separated a very long time ago. Much later, a single branch remained, containing the ancestors of both fungi and animals. Then this branch also forked. One path led to the quiet, absorptive, and networked life of the fungi. The other path led to the motile, sensing and ingesting life of the animals, and eventually to us. We are sister kingdoms, two different answers to the same ancient question of how to live. Fungi can survive in some of the most extreme environments on Earth. They are the great survivors, the masters of endurance. They have been found thriving in the super salty waters of the Dead Sea, in the acidic streams that drain from mines, in the dry, cold valleys of Antarctica, and in the crushing pressure of the deep sea floor. Their simple structure, their versatile metabolism, and their ability to enter long periods of dormancy allow them to make a home in places where no plant or animal could possibly survive. They are a testament to the incredible tenacity and adaptability of life itself. A hardy black fungus was found growing inside the damaged Chernobyl nuclear reactor. In one of the most radioactive environments on Earth, scientists made a startling discovery. A dark, melanin-rich fungus was not just surviving, but actively thriving, growing towards the sources of intense radiation. It seems this remarkable organism has learned to do something incredible, to harness the power of ionizing radiation as a source of energy, just as a plant harnesses the power of sunlight. It is a profound discovery, a hint that life may be able to find a way to flourish in even the most unlikely and challenging of conditions. There are fungi that live in the deep sea, near volcanic vents and high on mountain peaks. They have colonized every single habitat that our planet has to offer. In the eternal darkness of the deep ocean, they live on the strange chemical energy of hydrothermal vents. On the windswept, sun-blasted summits of the highest mountains, they live as hardy lichens, clinging to the bare rock. Their spores are a permanent part of the atmosphere, from the sea's surface to the edges of space. There is nowhere on Earth you can go where you will not be in the quiet, unseen company of the fungal kingdom. The fungal kingdom is so vast that scientists estimate we have only discovered a tiny fraction of its species. While we have named around 150,000 species of fungi, biologists believe that this is just the very tip of the iceberg. The true number of fungal species on Earth could be 2 million, 3 million, or even more. The vast majority of them are living their lives as hidden networks in the soil, as microscopic yeasts, or as symbiotic partners inside the cells of plants or insects. It is a vast, undiscovered continent of biological diversity, a quiet and profound mystery that is waiting to be explored. The quiet work of yeast. A single-celled fungus has helped humanity make bread for thousands of years. Our relationship with this kingdom is not just one of distant observation. It is an ancient and intimate one, For millennia, without even understanding what they were doing, our ancestors were cultivating these microscopic, single-celled fungi. They learned that by mixing a small amount of old dough into a new batch, they could capture the wild yeasts from the air and the flour, and that these invisible partners would perform the quiet magic of leavening, filling the bread with air and life. It is one of our oldest and most important symbiotic relationships. Fermentation is the gentle, invisible magic of these microscopic fungi at work. The process is a quiet and simple one. The yeast cells consume the sugars in the flour or the fruit juice, and as they do, they release two byproducts, alcohol and tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide gas. It is these bubbles of gas that get trapped in the gluten network of bread dough, causing it to rise and become light and airy. It is a gentle, metabolic breath, a slow, quiet exhalation from billions of tiny living beings. That has been a source of nourishment and delight for human cultures all across the world for our entire history. Fungi do not need light to grow. They draw their energy from the world around them. Unlike plants which are tied to the sun, fungi are creatures of the dark. Their kingdom is one that thrives on the stored energy of others. This frees them to live in places where photosynthesis is impossible, deep in the soil inside a solid log in a dark cave. They are the other half of the world's energy equation, the great unlockers of the solar energy that has been so carefully captured and stored by the plants. They are a reminder that there is life and nourishment to be found, even in the complete absence of light. The life of a fungus unfolds on a completely different timescale from our own. To a being that can live for thousands of years, a single human lifetime is but a fleeting moment. To a network that measures its growth in centuries, the changing of our seasons must seem like a rapid, flickering pulse. To contemplate the world from the perspective of a fungus is to let go of our own sense of urgency and to sink into a much deeper, slower, and more patient kind of time. It is a deeply calming and centering thought to imagine a life lived at the speed of the growing earth. They are a form of life that is both deeply familiar and wonderfully alien. They are familiar because we see their fruits in the forest and use their magic in our kitchens. They are familiar because, on a deep evolutionary level, they are our distant cousins. But they are also wonderfully alien. Their networked, decentralized way of being, their external digestion, their silent chemical language, their timeless patience, these things are so different from our own experience of the world. They are a quiet and beautiful mystery, a form of life that shows us that there are other, equally valid ways to be intelligent, to be successful, and to be alive. The fungal network has no brain, yet it can solve complex problems of navigation and resource allocation. This is the wonder of decentralized intelligence. There is no central command center, no single neuron making decisions. And yet the network as a whole exhibits a profound and effective intelligence. By following a few simple local rules, each growing thread contributes to a complex and highly efficient collective behavior. The network is a beautiful example of how great complexity and wisdom can emerge from the simple, cooperative interactions of many small parts. It is a quiet lesson in the power of the collective. They are the great connectors, the recyclers, and the foundation of the living world. If we had to choose 3 words to describe this hidden kingdom, these might be the best. They are the connectors weaving the forest into a single, communicating whole. They are the recyclers patiently turning death back into the building blocks of life. And they are the foundation, the essential life support system upon which the entire terrestrial world is built. It is a role of quiet, profound, and beautiful importance. Fungi remind us that the most powerful forces are often the most quiet and unseen. In a world that so often values the loud, the fast, and the highly visible, the fungal kingdom offers a gentle counterpoint. It demonstrates that true power lies in patience, in connection, in the slow, steady, and persistent work that happens out of sight. The great ancient trees stand tall because of the silent, invisible network that supports them. It is a calming and beautiful thought that the greatest strength is often the quietest. They are a kingdom built on patience, connection, and slow, steady growth. These are the core principles of the fungal way of being. They do not rush. They do not compete with aggression, but rather with persistence. Their entire existence is a testament to the power of forming beneficial relationships. They have endured for over 1 billion years through every great extinction event that our planet has faced by adhering to these simple, gentle, and profoundly effective rules. They are the quiet, ancient masters of a sustainable and resilient life. To think about fungi is to think about the web of life that holds everything together. They are the living embodiment of interconnectedness. Their threads are the literal physical connections that link the soil, the plants, and the cycle of life and death. To contemplate them is to see the world not as a collection of separate objects, but as a single, breathing, and deeply integrated whole. They are a quiet and powerful symbol of the unity of all living things. They are a testament to the quiet, resilient, and enduring power of nature. They remind us that life is not fragile. It is tough, it is adaptable, and it is persistent. It finds a way to thrive in the most unlikely of places. It builds complex and beautiful systems out of the simplest of materials. The fungal kingdom is one of the oldest and most successful expressions of this deep, creative, and enduring impulse of life. The dreamy world of fungi is all around us and within us all the time. It is not a distant, exotic realm. It is the silent partner in the soil of the pot plant in your room. It is the yeast floating in the air you breathe. It is the hidden network in the park down the street. We are immersed in this world whether we are aware of it or not. Its quiet, patient, and life-giving work is the constant, gentle background rhythm of the entire living planet. It is a silent, breathing network that connects the entire world in a single, living web. This is the final resting thought. From the smallest patch of moss on a stone to the greatest continental forests, this ancient fungal network is there. It is the Earth's own quiet nervous system, its circulatory system, its digestive system. It is a single, planetary-scale life form of unimaginable complexity and beauty, and we are all a small, resting part of its great, silent, and interconnected being. And so our wandering through the dreamy, hidden world of fungi begins to settle. The quiet, branching paths we followed in our minds now lead to a place of deep stillness. The currents of wonder that carried us grow calm, and the distant magical forms dissolve into the soft darkness of rest. There is nothing left to explore now but the gentle landscape of your own peaceful sleep. We drifted through the silent, invisible networks that hold the world together, and we felt the profound patience of a life that measures its time in centuries. We watched as the forest floor bloomed with fleeting, impossible shapes, and we felt the air alive with 1 million tiny, hopeful journeys. We learned that the world is a place of deep connection, and that the greatest work is often the most quiet. The same patient, resilient, and life-giving energy that fills the hidden kingdom of fungi is all around you now. The same quiet work of renewal that happens in the forest is happening in the slow, steady rhythm of your own breath. The very air that fills your lungs is a silent, invisible river, connecting you to the entire breathing world. So now let yourself drift fully into sleep. Let go of the journey and simply rest in this quiet, peaceful destination. Be carried like a soft, weightless spore on the gentle currents of the night. There is only peace here. There is only rest. Good night.